Hello and welcome to the Comeback Mechanics July 2025 Gym Leader Challenge Tournament. My name is Cody Hope and I'm casting for you this feature match between Madison Ward on Grass Control and Maddie Mims on Skyfield Fire. The Comeback Mechanics are a competitive team based in Dallas, Texas, and this matchup is from our monthly GLC tournament. As always, huge shout out to our sponsor Lone Star Pack Breaks in Carrollton, Texas, who very generously provide prizing for each of our tournaments.
Join Lone Star Pack Breaks live on Twitch Wednesday through Friday nights to rip into the latest Pokémon sets in English and Japanese, plus One Piece, Weiss, Union Arena, Final Fantasy, and more. LSPB ships anywhere in the U.S. Or if you're local, choose in-store pickup at their shop in Carrollton, Texas. Pickup orders are usually ready 1 to 2 days after a stream. Plus, if you're a Pokémon player, don't miss their standard tournaments every Wednesday and Friday at 7:30 p.m. Check out the links below to get in on the action.
Huge thanks again to Lone Star Pack Breaks for sponsoring the team. But on to the games here. Mads is on the left and she is playing a control build of grass. Her game plan here is to get cards like the Badoo or Venomoth or even something like the Executor to shut down your opponent's ability to play the game, and then using some very powerful supporter cards to discard energies, mill cards from the top of the deck, do things like that. So yeah, right now she's playing a Buddy Puffin, gets to search her deck for any two Pokemon 70 or less HP, put it onto the bench, and she's making use of that Maddie Map house rule, which the name comes from Maddie, who is over here on the right, where first time you search your deck, can take a look at the prizes. Really helpful to me for coverage purposes and helps cut down on prize checking in a singleton format like this. We see that Mads has opened on the Execute. Normally, you kind of want that in the hand. She's playing the Propagation one. Really nice card advantage here where you can get it out of the discard every turn, so it's great discard fodder. Can be cute for things like Quick Ball, but I think she's going to be trying to using it for things like the Plumera there. You discard 2 cards, discard an energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon here. But all is not lost here. She is playing the Executor, which has the blockade attack, 10 damage, and your opponent cannot play supporters next turn. Real rough there. See, she is going to grab that Badoo as well as the Turtwig. Nothing crazy here, just trying to go into that Sun-Drenched Shell Grotle. And if she needs to take a big knockout, she can go into the Torterra, that big Evo press. She is playing quite a few evolution lines in this deck list here. Now it'd be kind of a fun time to mention, we got a lot of Matt type names here on the team. Madison likes to go by Maddie, but Maddie goes by Maddie, so she goes by Mads when we're doing team events things here. Same thing with Maddie. He likes to go by Matthew, but we also have a Matthew on the team, so got to be a little creative coming up with some nicknames for our friends here. But going to see a big pass of the turn back over to Maddie here, and I love his deck. His deck is so cool. It is based around playing the Chandelure that has the Spirit Burner attack, where you're going to mill 5. It's going to do 60 damage for each. Ooh, and that's really rough. That Chandelure is unfortunately in the prizes here. And the Skyfield is in the prizes as well. That's rough. That's kind of the name of the game here, but it is what it is. And the Gladion is in there. One of his ways to get it back is also prized. That is just very unfortunate here, but if he could use that Chandelure, the idea here is you're going to mill 5, do 60 for each Pokemon you discard. Then you can put any fire Pokemon you discarded onto your bench. So Maddie is trying to do that to mill some very powerful stage 2 Pokemon. Things like the Burn Brightly Charizard, things like the Cinderace, things like the Typhlosion, these really powerful Pokemon, and then using things like Skyfield, he can have a whole bunch of them in play, and he's even playing a Ninetales that has the Barrier Shrine ability that prevents your opponent from playing stadiums, so that Skyfield gets to stay in play. It's a really sick deck, and it's really a shame to see a lot of that get prized here. Unfortunately, just getting attached to that Slugma, attached to the U-turn board, and then a pass here. He does have the Macargo for next turn, so if Maddie can get just another turn or two, he should be able to start playing the game here. Back over on Mad's side, she's going to go up into that Grotle, big Sun-Drenched Shell to help her set up her attackers. Could go into that Executor here, and we're going to see, a big Faba here is going to Lost Zone that U-turn board. Again, seeing a lot of the disruption in Mad's deck. Being able to get rid of tools, and she's got this really cool loop with Lieutenant Surge's strategy. Lieutenant Surge's strategy lets you play two additional supporters if you're behind on prizes here. So what she can end up doing is once Maddie is able to take a prize, she can do something like play Lieutenant Surge's strategy and then play something like a Team Flare Grunt to discard an energy, or something like Team Rocket's Handiwork to mill 2. And can then use Lucamine to get back the Lieutenant Surge's strategy, as well as one of that supporters can do it again on the next turn, and can even use something like a Team Yell's Cheer to put a bunch of supporter cards back into the deck. So she really has a lot of reach here in terms of the control tools available to her. Thinking about what she wants to get with the Sun-Drenched Shell, and it's looking like she's going to grab that Executor. Wants to stop Maddie from being able to really develop his board here. And we're just going to see a big turf field stadium. Allows you to search for a grass evolution once per turn here. Could see an evolution. Could see maybe grabbing the Torterra maybe. Or just going to grab that Sawsbuck here. Makes a lot of sense as well. Sawsbuck just has the ability to draw a card once per turn. It's very nice. No cost at all. It's not quite a trade, but you also don't have to discard any cards here. So really nice to keep that value train rolling there. And we do see that Mads is kind of getting all of her control tools kind of put up here. She could go into Badoo and prevent item cards here, or could use the Executor to block supporters. It's going to really depend on what she wants to end up doing here. Just going to see an attach to the Grodel here, and really, she just needs to keep Maddie down for one more turn. If she can just prevent Maddie from getting another basic into play, she could realistically just go into Torterra next turn and Evo Press for knockout here. Yeah, big float stone on the execute, going to go up into the Executor. And so the Executor has free retreat. And, just going to go into the Badoo. Also makes a lot of sense here. Thinking that blocking the items is going to be a little more important than blocking the supporter cards here. And really looks like it doesn't matter regardless here. Maddie doesn't really have much going on here. He does have that Macargo, and if he can last one more turn, he can use Combustion for knockout. Good news here, he hits for weakness into pretty much the every single one of Mads' Pokemon here. But it's looking like Mads might just be able to close out the game next turn. Evo Press does 50 for each evolution Pokemon in play. Mads will have 3, so we'll be able to do 150. That is going to knock out the Macargo. And so as long as she has an energy in her hand, she could just be winning the game next turn. But we see that Maddie is kind of thinking about what he can do here. He is eyeing up that Lampet. Lampet's really cool. Has the top entry ability where if you drew it from your deck at the beginning of your turn, you can put it onto your bench. So really cute way to kind of get out a Pokemon there. So could go for something like that. And that is looking like what he's going to do here. Just wants to get another Pokemon in play. And then if he can just kind of get a card to let him look at his prizes maybe, or if he can get a quick knockout with the Macargo here, hope to draw that Chandelure and can use that big attack to put all of these Pokemon into play here. So going to see Turffield Stadium is going to be used here, and I got to imagine it's just going to be that big Torterra, and I think we may just be seeing an Evo Press for game here. I don't know if Mads currently has an energy in her hand, but if she does, that is just going to be the end of the game here. And real unfortunate for Maddie here. I think this deck is just super sick, but that is kind of the problem when you're playing a lot of these cards that don't develop your game plan right. He's got a bunch of fire energy in hands, fire crystal, and he has that Dusk Stone in the hand here. Dusk Stone is really cute. You can search your deck for a Chandelure that evolves from one of your Pokemon and then evolve it. And then you shuffle your deck, and you can use it during your first turn or on a Pokemon that's put into play this turn. So he's got a way to kind of try to turbo out the Chandelure here. And there it is. Big knockout here. Going to use that double turbo energy to get a big knockout with Evo Press. So a little unfortunate for Maddie here, but maybe we'll get to feature his deck again here in the future. I think this deck is super slick. Would have also liked to see kind of the control elements of Mads' deck kind of get used here. Instead, we just kind of saw big Torterra Evo Press for game there. But that is going to do it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can make sure to give me a like. You can also subscribe to the channel, and why don't you leave me a comment? What do you think of the Chandelure strategy? I think it's super slick. Love to get your thoughts on it. But with that, my name is Cody Hope, and I'm signing out.